The movie begins with a close-up shot of a young girl named Chloe sitting alone in a dimly lit room. She appears to be watching something outside the window with a mix of curiosity and fear. The camera then pans to show us glimpses of the outside world through the barred windows. Chloe's father, Henry, enters the room and sternly warns her about the dangers of going outside. He emphasizes that they must stay hidden and avoid drawing attention to themselves. Chloe and her Henry are having a meal together. As they eat, Chloe practices reciting her personal details and rehearsing what to do in certain situations, adopting the identity of Eleanor Reed. She states her name, age, address, and birthday, as well as those of her mother, Nancy, and sister, Harper. Chloe expresses concern about whether her mother will truly love her, to which Henry reassures her that they are paying Nancy for her care. Chloe and Henry continue their practice session late into the night. Chloe then mentions something about going to the mountain if she doesn't practice, which confuses Henry. He questions her about where she learned about the mountain, suspecting that she may have talked to someone or found information in his junk mail. Henry's tone becomes more serious as he warns Chloe that this is not a game and that she can never lie to him. Chloe insists that she's not lying, but Henry's concern grows as he realizes that Chloe may be hiding something from him. Henry, fearing Chloe has learned about the outside world, gathers and burns all their mail. In her room, Chloe hears a sound and investigates. Upon opening a door, she encounters a woman who screams, prompting Chloe to flee. She retreats to her bed and draws a stick figure screaming, "Go away, ghost." Distressed, she calls Henry, who comforts her, reassuring her that ghosts aren't real. Chloe asks him to stay, and he sleeps in her room. The next morning, Chloe spots a girl buying ice cream and whispers a request for some. The girl responds to her request and brings her an ice cream. Henry came and pulled Chloe inside. Then he questioned Harper's presence and her knowledge of Chloe's name. Nancy, the girl's mother, comes and introduces herself and compliments Chloe's appearance. Henry hastily ends the interaction and urges Nancy and Harper to leave. Henry confronts Chloe about Harper calling her by her real name, Chloe, and accuses her of going outside. Chloe denies it, fearing the punishment of being confined to the closet. Henry admonishes her, emphasizing the danger of breaking their rules, and Chloe realizes the severity of her actions. Henry approaches Chloe and apologizes for yelling at her earlier. Chloe tells Henry that her mom said she could go outside to the ice cream truck. However, he interjects with a dark story about ice cream trucks containing frozen kid bodies. Chloe insists she wants to go outside anyway, expressing frustration at not being allowed like her sister Harper. Henry offers to get her ice cream if she promises not to open the door again, to which Chloe eagerly agrees. Henry rushes into the house wounded and armed. Chloe is concerned for her father's safety and asks what happened, but Henry reassures her, albeit cryptically, saying that most of the blood is from the intruders. Chloe presses for more information, but Henry deflects her questions and emphasizes the need for caution and staying inside. Chloe's focus on the ice cream, despite the gravity of the situation, frustrates Henry, who admonishes her for not recognizing the danger he just faced. He bandaged himself and passed out while sitting on the floor. Chloe takes money from the safe and heads to the ice cream truck. Initially hesitant, she eventually gets in, and the ice cream vendor takes her to a park where she enjoys playing. However, the vendor tries to manipulate Chloe by claiming he knows her mother and questioning if she has special abilities. A police officer arrives, sensing something amiss, and intervenes to ensure Chloe's safety. When the officer questions Chloe, the situation escalates as the ice cream vendor becomes agitated. The vendor manipulates Chloe into thinking the cop is a threat. Chloe started screaming, "Go away" to the cop, and he walked away. The ice cream vendor drops Chloe off at her door and gives her a pill, instructing her to put it in her father's drink when she wants to go out again. Chloe returns home with the pill. Henry woke up and went to Chloe's room. He apologizes for not getting ice cream, but Chloe expresses her desire to live with Nancy. Chloe insists she's special like her mother and lashes out at Henry, wishing for a mom. Henry tries to explain, but Chloe rejects him, expressing her anger and longing for a mother figure. Chloe encounters the woman again and attempts to converse with her, but the woman screams, causing Chloe to flee. As Chloe watches TV, she sees a conversation between a man and a woman discussing the treatment of abnormals or freaks. The woman, advocating for normalizing relations with the abnormal community, chooses to use the term abnormal instead of freaks as a political statement. The man counters, stating that any abnormals still in the cities are breaking the law, advocating for relocation and termination. He argues that abnormals, especially their children, are dangerous and should be culled at a young age. However, the woman suggests a different approach, proposing that with guidance, an abnormal child child could be a powerful asset if raised properly. Chloe goes to her closet and imagines talking to the woman, whom she sees as her mother, even though it's just in her mind. The woman advises Chloe to tell her dad to move forward with his life. Chloe, downstairs, tells her dad she saw Mom and that she lives in her closet. She shares that Mom suggested Henry should move on and find a new mom. Henry dismisses her, but Chloe insists she's going to live with Nancy and be normal. Henry tries to stop her, but Chloe expresses her frustration, wishing he would die. Henry warns her that someday she'll be alone and regret saying such things. Chloe follows through with the vendor's instructions and puts the pill in her father's drink. When Henry notices a powder residue on the glass and questions her, Chloe reacts defensively, screaming at him to go to sleep. Henry then collapses onto the ground and falls asleep. The vendor finds Chloe outside and notices blood coming from her eyes. He wipes away the blood and instructs her to wipe her tears whenever she feels like crying. The vendor, posing as Father Tom Finnegan, approaches Agent Ray and requests a private conversation. He reveals Chloe's situation, explaining that she needs protection and they need to be taken to Maddock Mountain. He recounts finding Chloe as a newborn and raising her, suspecting she might be abnormal due to the circumstances surrounding her arrival. Agent Ray examines Chloe's eyes and discovers she is indeed abnormal. Despite Chloe's denial, the vendor insists on their need for protection and pleads to stay in Chloe's life to continue nurturing her. Chloe, angered by this, flees. They went to the back room and the vendor used his powers to make them both disappear. The vendor is revealed to be Chloe's grandfather, Alan. Chloe persuades him to take her home using her powers. Henry discovers them and he instructs Chloe to leave while he confronts Alan alone with the truck. Henry then disappeared along with Alan and the truck. Henry returns and reveals to Chloe what has happened. He explains that he created a time bubble around their house to keep them safe, allowing time to pass differently inside compared to the outside world. While only a few months have passed for the rest of the world since they started hiding after Chloe's mother's death, inside the house, years have gone by. Henry expresses his wish to stop time permanently to keep Chloe safe, but he acknowledges that he can't keep her in the bubble forever. Henry takes Chloe to their neighbor's house unexpectedly. Steve, the neighbor, questions the sudden visit, but Henry insists that it has to happen now. Steve welcomes them in, and his wife Nancy is surprised to see Chloe. Henry explains that after today, they won't see him again, and he requests that they take care of Chloe. He promises to provide them with money, as long as they don't contact the ADF, Abnormal Defense Force. Chloe introduces herself to Harper, but Harper reacts negatively, calling her weird and expressing discomfort. Harper accuses Chloe of making her do things and crashing her slumber party, labeling her as a freak. Turns out, the things Chloe imagined doing actually happens. Nancy and Steve argue about whether they can afford to take Chloe in, with Nancy expressing shock at Chloe's abnormality. Steve tries to defuse the situation, but tensions rise as emotions run high. Chloe seeks validation and love from her potential new family members. She gets into Nancy's head and makes her say she loves her. Nancy, when she came back to herself, threatened to call the police. Henry and Chloe went to their own house. Alan was inside. Henry confronts Alan about Chloe's recent behavior, expressing frustration and concern. Henry accuses Chloe of breaking the rules and putting herself in danger, leading to a heated argument between them. Chloe becomes distressed, pleading to be let out, but Henry restrains her to keep her safe. Alan reveals shocking information. Mary, Chloe's mother, is not dead, but held captive in the mountain. Henry is outraged, blaming Alan for leaving Mary there and forcing her into a dangerous situation. Despite their disagreement, Alan insists that Chloe is their only hope to rescue Mary. Henry is hesitant, but realizes that Chloe's abilities might indeed be the key to saving her mother. This revelation sets the stage for a tense partnership between Chloe, Henry, and Alan as they plan to confront the authorities and rescue Mary from captivity. Chloe witnesses Nancy talking to a police officer and hears her calling her a freak. Enraged by this betrayal, Chloe taps into her powers and influences the officer to stab Nancy in the eye. She then attempts to make the officer shoot himself, but Henry intervenes and stops her from causing further harm. More officers arrive at the scene and see Nancy bleeding from her eyes. Assuming she is a freak, they shoot her. Chloe reveals Mary's dire situation to Henry. Mary, bound and facing imminent execution, urges Henry to take care of Chloe before the people with her move to administer a fatal injection. Chloe uses her powers to compel one of the men to inject himself instead. Then she made the other guy uncuff Mary. Agent Ray came to the house and rang the bell. Henry froze time and opened the door. Agent Ray introduces herself as Special Agent Cecilia Ray from the ADF, Abnormal Defense Force, and begins questioning Henry about any weapons in the house. Henry denies having any weapons and explains that he is just the owner of the property, not a resident. He mentions his plans to renovate the property and expresses disgust at the idea of freaks hiding in abandoned buildings. Agent Ray confronts Henry with the truth about his identity, revealing that the house was foreclosed 6 months ago and is owned by Western Trust Bank, not Henry. She notices the peroxide on his face. Henry is taken aback by the revelation, and Agent Ray lays out 2 options for him. He can either try to kill her, leading to their certain demise as the ADF will retaliate with overwhelming force, or he can cooperate and help Eleanor, also known as Chloe. Agent Ray acknowledges Henry's concern for Chloe's well-being and emphasizes her potential value, not just as a weapon, but as a symbol for their cause. She offers Henry the assurance that Chloe would be safe with them and could even make a positive impact with the right guidance and training. However, Agent Ray doesn't mince words about the risks involved. She tells Henry that if he chooses to help them, he will likely not survive. Despite this grim reality, she points out that Henry has already been sacrificing for Chloe's sake, implying that joining their cause would be a continuation of that sacrifice. Alan took the gun from Agent Ray and pointed the gun at her. Chloe, using her abilities, manipulates a guard's actions to aid her mother's escape. Meanwhile, upstairs, Agent Ray confronts Henry and Chloe. Witnessing Chloe's actions, Agent Ray reacts with lethal force, but Alan intervenes, taking the bullet intended for Chloe. Chloe compels Agent Ray to turn the gun on herself. Henry, utilizing his powers, buys time for Chloe to secure Mary's escape from the ADF agents. Then, harnessing his abilities to manipulate time, he carries Chloe out of harm's way, just as the house is obliterated by the missile strike. Henry collapses after using his powers multiple times. Chloe desperately pleads for Henry to wake up, but despite her efforts, he continues to falter. Suddenly, ADF agents return, but Mary arrives, using her flying powers and defeating them. She offers to hide Chloe in a new place, but Chloe refuses. She insists they should live freely. Touched by her daughter's determination, Mary agrees. They fly away together, ready to face whatever comes their way. Did this story spook you out? Let us know in the comments below. For more horror movie recaps, subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next one. Fear awaits you.